sessions, the boot camp, people just come out with correct answers for why projects fail, because they might have seen lots of failures though. So you don't really need to have a very big reason for a project to fail. In fact, the reason could be a small one as well. Projects fail because of reasons that start from A, B, C, and go on. Projects fail because of A for attitude, takabbur. That's enough for a project to fail, actually. You know, the kind of ego conflict between the directors, between the managers, and especially the project manager has to put his attitude in the boot of his car outside the office and walk in. If he puts on his attitude and if he's coming in, it's like he's coming in to the office daily to dig his grave, actually. Finally, when the project fails, they're going to put him in the same pit and level it. So projects fail because of a reason like A for attitude, B for behavior. Human behavior is an important determinant of project success. How do you behave with as a project manager? How you behaving with your colleagues and people working under you and your seniors? And if this guy's behavior is not good, if he's shrewd and abusive, people are working under him only because they don't have any other option. So A for attitude, B for behavior, C for competence is all the required technical expertise has to be there in the team. If this project calls for expertise from various disciplines, you should have all the SMEs, the subject matter experts of all the trades should be there. All the disciplines should be there. So if you lack in any one of the verticals or disciplines per se, that is enough for a project to fail totally. And why projects fail? Projects fail because of improper planning, lack of planning. Improper planning includes improper scoping of the project. You have to very properly do the in-scope and out-scope. In terms of inclusions and exclusions, what all is included in the scope you have to mention, and you also have to mention what all is not included in each phase of the project. So projects fail because of improper planning, that includes improper scoping of the project, includes improper risk assessment, improper costing. If the original estimates themselves are flawed, if the original estimates themselves are wrong, then how do you expect to meet the cost baseline? So lack of planning includes improper staffing or resourcing of the project. So projects fail because of improper planning. Projects fail because of objectives not clear. The cost, the time, and the quality objective should be very clear to the project manager. And then projects fail because of unrealistic targets, something that takes 2 years on a regular schedule, on a conventional schedule. If the project manager is pushed to do it in 1 year with the same resources, and if the project manager goes ahead with this project, that itself is called as suicide. The target should be challenging, but it should be something that is achievable. So projects fail because of unrealistic target. A project that takes 2 years can be done in 1 year, but we are not talking about those projects in PMBOK guide. They are the rush projects where you need to have ample of physical and financial resources at disposal. And those projects carry huge incentives if they beat the performance and deliver the project before the due date. So, like 6 months before the due date, or 3 months, say, before the due date. So projects fail because of unrealistic targets or because of an important stakeholder or decision maker not identified. One key stakeholder can jeopardize your entire efforts if he or she is not satisfied with the product or just for the heck of it. On a project, you have the internal stakeholders, you have the external stakeholders, and you have the key stakeholders. The key stakeholders are the people who give you the UAT, the user acceptance test. They have to give the guys who are going to give you acceptance for the deliverables so that you can move into closing the project. So these guys are key stakeholders, and their names will be written in a charter document. During project initiation itself, their names would be listed down on this project, who's going to give you approval for the deliverables, the acceptance. So you have to keep these guys happy and informed throughout the project. They're like guys who give you internal marks in your engineering exam. So you have to keep saluting them throughout the year, and you have to act very like a good boy in front of them, who's always ready to carry their bag, and you're always ready to drop on your bike. Because when he has to give you marks in the exam, when he looks at your face, he has to recall what all good you did throughout the year for him. If this other guy who pushed this, professor in the canteen and was smoking in front of him, so when he sees his face, like he wanted him to come this day, so either this guy is going to fail him or give him less marks. So things happen out of relationship. It also reminded, you might think that you have done the best job, but if the customer wants to nail you, he can take out $100 from your product. So if he likes you like a man of your word and a person with good character, honest guy, then what happens is the customer would give you an acceptance for the deliverables with a snag list or a punch list. So he says, man, I'm giving you acceptance, you can start your closure activities. But you have these things still like pending. These are like few of the items that you still have to close. So he gives you acceptance with a snag list or a punch list. Otherwise, if you don't get an acceptance from the client, it's like you're running from post to pillar, and that's a very horrible time for the project manager. So minded that you have to know who are going to be the key stakeholders on this project, and you have to keep them happy and informed throughout the project. When you meet them for the final UAT, it should not be like you're a stranger for them. They have to say, yeah, you used to keep us informed about your project performance, regularly and all.